What's going on, Vape fam? This is Joe of All Vapes coming at you as usual with some awesome e-juice reviews. So, any of you guys ever heard of 13th Floor Elevapors? If you haven't, you guys are seriously missing out. Let me tell you something. This is a great company with 3 signature flavors, really high quality stuff. Let's face it, I mean, we're always looking for something brand new on the market, but there's only so many ways you can take a flavor that everybody else has used and jazz it up enough that's going to make it popular enough, beyond all the other flavors out there, the hundreds of brands, hundreds of thousands of flavors across the world, that is going to stand out and last long enough to hit up the conventions, you know what I'm saying? But 13th Floor Elevapors has really made that name for themselves. All they have is 3 unique flavors right now, but the quality of those vapes are very high. This is one of those companies that definitely ranks big time with the Joe of All Vapes vaping community. I really appreciate what these guys do. As a matter of fact, they're also part of the Zamplebox family, and any part of the Zamplebox family is family of mine, you know what I'm saying? So let's get right to this and let's kind of discuss and pick apart bit by bit the flavor profiles, the different ratios of these flavors, and I guarantee you, whatever your favorite all-day vape is, there's something in one of these vapes that you guys are really gonna dig. So let's get to this. So the first flavor that we're going to be talking about is Django. And this is the bright yellow bottle. It's hard to miss this one. 3 milligrams on the back, as you can see. And 13th Floor Elevapors really did go above and beyond in coming up with some traditional flavors and switching it up just enough to make it very spectacular. And I don't throw that term around lightly. The flavor profile on the Django is a vanilla milk with sweet caramel and Kentucky flue cured tobacco. And trust me, this is not your typical RY4 here, guys. This is really solid tasting. The one thing that I picked up immediately was the vanilla milk. And the way that this isn't your typical RY4 is that typically an RY4 is like a caramel, a cream, and some type of a tobacco. Pretty similar to most other RY4s out there, and just subtleties and differences, strengths, how much of what ingredient is going to be stronger, lighter, so on and so forth, or all the same across the board. But the vanilla milk is really what made the biggest difference. It might not sound like it makes that big of a difference, but trust me, it really does. You mix up vanilla with just a light tasting, creamy flavor like milk, which, it just kind of has a very light, refreshing taste, really ice cold milk. I love ice cold milk like that. And with a good solid, just copper pan, slow cooked caramel, deep, earthy, sweet, buttery, and really amazing with a good quality tobacco. And I mean, if it's going to be tobacco, make it a good quality one. The solid extract is really what makes the difference when it comes to a tobacco vape. Trust me on this. I've got some awesome tobacco vapes coming up for review, and you guys are going to see what I'm talking about. But the flavor on the Django is very unique. It's very light. I don't want to say refreshing, definitely, because it's a little bit deeper in flavor, even though it is kind of light and airy, but it comes across as something extremely pleasant. This is definitely an all-day vape for me. I've had my original favorites as far as some of the RY4s when they really hit the market from some very traditional brands that we all know. But the Django is one of those companies that very much just kind of sets a totally different kind of a bar for just some of the most traditional flavors that they really have jazzed up in a very pleasant and high quality way. The cool thing about that is that you can keep things incredibly simple. Like I said, they've only come up with 3 flavors, but I've also said this before. When a brand comes out and they're so excited and brand spanking new that they come out with something like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 different flavors, unless they're really high quality, and I mean they've taken the time, the energy, gotten the good extracts, find really quality steeping processes, and so on and so forth, and have made the marketing really special and unique, you're pretty much destined to fail. But a lot of the companies that really do take that much time and invest all of that into just a simplicity of about 3 to 4 to 5 flavors, you pretty much guarantee the majority of all of those flavors are going to come out spectacular. And they last a long time. Not only do they persevere, but they push on. and they don't have to do a whole hell of a lot past that point because the flavors are so high quality. That is 13th Floor Elevapors, and trust me, a company like Zamplebox is not going to carry their juice line if it isn't really high quality stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if you like a traditional RY4, you're definitely going to like the Django, but be prepared to try something totally outside of the box of a traditional RY4. The vanilla milk really sweetens this stuff to a lighter, airier flavor. Really, really beautiful texture. It comes in a 70-30, so it's going to be a dripper's dream. The 30% on this end is really going to be a high quality flavor carrier. A lot of PGs can sometimes give you a little bit of a throat hit. This stuff has 0 throat hit. Now, maybe if you increased it past 3 milligrams per milliliter, which is what I do personally, you might have a little bit more of kind of that, that harsh throat hit in the back, which I know a lot of you guys love, but I can't go beyond that just because I don't like to, and I think it suffers some of the flavor sometimes. They really, really have come out with an incredibly high quality tobacco vape, where the tobacco itself was medium bold, but still light enough that it doesn't dominate the entire flavor profile and aspect of what it is they're trying to come across with this one. So the Django by 13th Floor Elevapors, definitely one of the better RY4-esque flavors that I have ever tried. Really high quality caramel taste to it. Definitely think this is going to hit up a very wide spectrum of vapors as far as the desserts, the tobacco lovers, and maybe even some of kind of the morning breakfast lovers too. It has a little bit of a hint going in there with just kind of that light, creamy, refreshing taste with the vanilla milk. So definitely my favorite out of the 3, which is really hard to say because the 3 of these are really amazing. The next flavor up is Levitation in the deep red bottle. And 3 milligrams once again, but this one is an 80-20, which is pretty intense. I only suggest you drip this one. I have sub-ohmed all of these. I've dripped all of these. And the one thing that I will say is usually pretty consistent is the higher the VG count, the better it tastes when it's dripped. And some of them I've tasted with high VG, believe it or not, sub-ohm or drip, and it tastes like crap. But once again, that comes down to a quality aspect. How much passion, how much interest does a brand even have in their flavors? You know what I'm saying? It's really up to you to decide, but eventually a company is either going to not last or completely rebrand. Most of the time they end up doing something like that, and you kind of pray and hope that they're making the good decision and come up with either less and put something more into, just a better flavor, or just kind of try and think outside the box a little bit. But you don't have to worry about that with 13th Floor Elevapors. They've really come out with quality stuff. The Levitation is a blueberry muffin milkshake. So you don't really have to think too hard on this one. Chop up a sweet blueberry muffin, very light, very airy, very buttery. Mix it with some amazing, delicious, creamy vanilla ice cream, and call it good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this was some of the best stuff that I have ever vaped. The cool thing about this is that it was so light and creamy in the sweet cream and vanilla end, it almost tasted cold, kind of like you're drinking a milkshake, like you're literally drinking on a milkshake. And I think that was just the mixture and the combination of flavor extracts that they used to kind of come across with something that was so vanilla, so light and so airy and so creamy and delicious. The vanilla and the cream definitely hit me on the intake, which is a little bit different because typically blueberry has just a little bit of a dominating consistency to it in its flavor, just a little. But the vanilla and the blueberries really came through on the exhale, and everything, the cream just held all of it together in just this light, fluffy, cool, creamy vanilla amazingness. You really, really are going to enjoy this one. You guys are absolutely going to love this flavor. So if you like anything creamy, if you like a lot of the fruity vapes, those dessert lovers, and if you're a breakfast lover, definitely hit up some Levitation, guys. You guys are going to love this. You're not going to go wrong with it. Trust me on that one. And the last but not least is the Bermuda in the light, sweet little blue, baby blue bottle right here. Now, the Bermuda was an out-of-sight flavor. It really was something kind of unique. This one is a 60-40 blend, so you can pretty much sub-ohm or drip this one to your heart's desire. And it is a mixture of mixed berries lying atop a bed of Granny Smith sliced apples with some really cool, bubbly, refreshing champagne. Now, I don't particularly care for some of the e-liquors out on the market, to be honest with you. There's a lot of liquor on the market and mixed drinks that I won't drink as is. Now, you put it in a vape, I can't guarantee you that I'm going to get any better of a response from that than I would by drinking it. But I love champagne, and champagne kind of tends to be one of those liquors that, appeases to all people across the board. It's very light, very airy, very bubbly, and has a bit of a fruity taste and consistency to it. Anyways, now you put in some really fresh tasting berries that are very, very sweet, very pleasing to the palate. I imagine drinking an ice cold glass of champagne with like some fresh raspberries floating on the top, a couple of fresh blueberries, maybe some sliced strawberries in there. Really, really sweet, really refreshing, just amazing flavor to it. It was happy. I can't think of a better explanation or a better term to use other than happy. It just made me happy. It was a very happy vape. It was very light and very airy, and this was definitely an all day, anytime, all the time vape. Something that is not overly heavy, something that is definitely going to give you a really solid, light and bubbly and airy and refreshing taste. You become thirsty when you start drinking this. I don't mean in a bad way. You want to go out and get yourself some champagne and start drinking this just to complement it. And maybe we ought to start doing some comparisons, you know what I'm saying, on some of the next vapes here. But this one was definitely a brand new one for me. It was a different kind of concoction. I really absolutely loved it. Nothing less to expect from 13th Floor Elevapors. Really, really good stuff. I like the fact that they've put different ratios on all of these. I mean, you can do that pretty much with any kind of flavor that you want. You can switch up the ratios. You can do whatever the heck you want with that kind of stuff. But what I like the most is when a brand comes out and then they switch up the ratios basically specifically for the flavors, not necessarily just to switch it up and be unique. They can leave everything the same ratio. They can do, everything half and half or 50-50 or whatever. But certain flavors really do benefit by different amounts of VG to PG, especially how you're going to be vaping it. And when a company comes through with a really high quality vape and says, you guys really should drip this, drip it, for crying out loud. Listen to the guys. These are the guys that actually spent money and time and passion and effort and steeping, and I mean, you have no idea how long it takes to come up with a quality e-juice. There is a ton that goes into the process, not to mention everything else that's left in the marketing and getting it out to the consumer so they can get you guys' opinion. But hopefully this video will help you kind of pick and choose and be able to come up with the right mindset to be able to try something a little bit unique, a little bit outside the box, but again, something very comfortable, very familiar. Got some great vapes here that are deep, decadent, but from the majority of the time, they are very, very light tasting, incredibly refreshing, and I know that you guys are going to love 13th Floor. So here's my suggestion. Go on to 13th Floor Elevapors, and that's 1313, not the word, on Instagram, and definitely give these guys a follow. I'd even turn on the notifications on this company. Check these guys out. Look at all the vast pictures that they have, and then follow the link on to their website, which is 13thfloorelevapors.com, once again with a 13, not the word. And there you'll be able to check out all the different flavors, a little bit more of a specific and detailed flavor profile on their actual website, and you'll be able to get a little bit of a better idea as to what these guys are all about. So I want to say to 13th Floor Elevapors, thank you very much for sticking it through with me and Joe of All Vapes, for supporting what it is that I do, and to all my subscribers and followers on Instagram, I want to thank you guys for your support. I really hope this gave you a little bit of something different just to look into amongst all the other e-juice brands and e-juice flavors out on the market that exist worldwide. I'm going to try my best to bring them all to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dead yet. So guys, if you dug this review and you want to see more awesome e-juice, more mods, more RDAs, drippers, accessories up the wazoo, stay tuned, because I've got so much coming up in the very, very near future. More mod reviews coming up. I've got some special discounts that are available only for you YouTube subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Check out my Instagram page at joeofallvapes_2, the letter 2. I've got some awesome giveaways going on for the month of May 2016, at least 3. But you know what? I may wake up the next morning with a wild hair and want to do 5. Who knows? I am in a giving mood lately. Life is good, and there's too many good vapes out there just to keep them all to myself. You know what I'm saying? So definitely follow me on Instagram. Spread the words to all of your vape fam. I really, really appreciate your guys' support, and stay tuned for more good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So one last thing I want to leave you guys with is love yourselves, love each other. Keep the support and advocacy alive for what we do. Join CASA if you get the opportunity. Go in the description of this video below and you'll be able to find the link to join CASA and become an advocate for yourself. Sign those petitions. And the one last thing I want to leave you with is, You guys keep it cloud.